Welcome to the Website Investor. I'm Jeff Hunt, and today we're going to talk about how to find the right web hosting for your business. And in some ways, this is a bigger topic than I feel like I can address easily in 6 minutes, and that's because having purchased more than 300 websites and a lot of them coming with very, very different hosting platforms, I've actually had experience hosting on Bluehost, GoDaddy, HostGator, Presidium, VPS.net, SiteGround, Site5, 1&1, Amazon, JustHost, and ReliableServer.net, and so many more. I can't even remember all of the hosting platforms that I've had sites on at one time or another. So I'm sure there's platforms I haven't hosted on that you have, but I've been on a million of them, and there are a lot of challenges with choosing the right hosting platform. And of course, it really depends on the kind of site that you have. But I'm going to kind of devote the comments in this episode towards people who are looking at more starter sites or sort of medium-sized sites. And in those cases, you would be looking at shared hosting or perhaps VPS or cloud hosting. At the higher end, you're going to be looking at dedicated server hosting. And so we won't be addressing that very much, but that's also something that I've done along the way. So the first thing that is the most important really is the ease and speed of customer support from the host. To me, that makes or breaks the host if it isn't easy for me to contact them. For example, one of the hosts that I'll go ahead and say it, a Bluehost, had pretty good quality support, and their ease of access to support was also nice. It was chat support, but it was very slow. I had to wait sometimes 12 minutes, 15 minutes, even 30 minutes to get somebody on chat in the past. I don't know what it looks like today. I haven't tried it recently. But that's a case where, the chat is very usable. It's actually better than telephone because you can paste things in and communicate specific URLs and domain names and things like that with less error in chat. So chat is a great interface. Some hosts don't even have chat there. Everything is via email. So first one is ease and speed. Even if they have chat, if they don't answer the chat, within just a few seconds, it becomes very, very frustrating. Second, of course, is quality. There are a few hosts out there that do a really good job of having someone Johnny on the spot answering your chat, but you can tell they don't know what they're doing. They don't solve your problems, and they have to escalate to other people, or you just get really frustrated dealing with them. They can't do simple things. So, and I'm telling you these things, I'm not going to actually recommend specific hosting providers to you in this video, because this video is going to be around for a very long time, and the specific recommendations are going to change. Specifically, I've found that some of the better web hosts get worse over time as they grow. They don't seem to be able to scale effectively to service a lot more clients. So when people learn that they're a good host, they get a lot more clients, and then they don't service them very well because they don't know how to scale. Or sometimes some of the giants like GoDaddy scale effectively. They have systems to be able to host tens of thousands of customers or even hundreds of thousands, but they're aiming at, they're kind of optimizing. They're getting as many customers on a server as they possibly can, and they're trying to service as many customers with the fewest number of support staff. And so, you become a victim of the law of averages, where they're just trying to do the best they can across thousands of customers, but that isn't as good of service. So a lot of times the biggest companies end up being not the best, and things change in the industry. So first thing, the support is really critical. Another thing is actually the quality of the service itself. You don't want downtime. You want uptime, and so you want to, when you research your sites looking for these things, look for the highest number of uptimes. And then you should also particularly look at security concerns, because some sites do very well at protecting you from denial of service attacks or other kinds of attacks, and others don't have any protection for you whatsoever. You want to also look at the speed. Speed of the infrastructure is really important. Some hosts have their own caching facility or their own CDNs built in as part of the service, and others do not have those. So speed is good, and of course you want to balance all of that with the cost. Then finally, if you have WordPress sites, then you may be looking at WordPress hosting, which are providers who know about WordPress, who kind of keep it updated for you and do more things for you. I've actually been with a host recently called Presidium, and they did such a good job that like 6 months after I moved a bunch of sites to Presidium, I forgot what the name of the company was because I hadn't had to reach out to them. Everything was just running super smoothly, good performance, good uptime. And the times that I'd reached out to them when I very first set up the account, they were super quick to address my concerns and did it very personally. So that's kind of the best kind of hosting, but it's also the most expensive kind of hosting where you have that premium level of support. So hopefully that gives you some ideas of the things that you need to check for in terms of specific recommendations. We may have some specific ones on the show notes page for what's available, at the time that the page is last updated. But generally speaking, those are the criteria that you're looking for: ease of access to support, quality support, quick support, server uptime, server speed. And then if you're looking at WordPress specific sites, there's several kinds of WordPress specific hosting, and it's pretty easy to find what the quality ones are out there by just doing searches on WordPress. So that's what I have for you from the website Investor Today. So go to flipminds.com/today to find tools and resources for your online business, and I'll see you next time.